to talk just a little bit before I get into the topic of, was it a strategic move? Now, we all know that strategy is very important in this day and age because there is so much working against the mind for the purpose of controlling the masses. Different types of energy, different types of thought processes. And it's all about what is appealing to whom. Now, I want to talk about Nicki Minaj. And when I talked about this before, when she was at was it UN meeting? I said, that's odd, right? But because I don't follow her, I don't know uh, her political stance or anything like that. But when I seen it, I said, well, that's odd. Out of all, that would be a spokesperson or someone that would be there. It just seemed odd. But as a modern day woman, okay, I understand the move because it gets a certain group, a certain demographic to the polls, and it introduces them to a different side of life. Was it a strategic move? Yes, indeed. Now, first off, who in this world would not want to shake the president's hand? Who in this world, especially these breed of females and ladies, who would not want to rub elbows, if you will, with the president? Now let's just dissect the name. Nicki Minaj. I said Menage a trois. So you do know that is Menage a trois. That is a fancy way of saying, let me get in them cheeks. You know what I'm talking about? Or you can get in them for the right price. So when I seen it, I just seen it briefly. I just seen it briefly, right? And what I noticed was his smile. Okay, we're talking about, could we learn a lot from Donald Trump, Mr. Donald Trump? Yes, we could. Because first and foremost, he's a businessman. And he was a successful businessman before he became the most important, influential man on the planet. That speaks volumes. So despite what people's personal opinions about our president is, he's the most influential, the most powerful man in the world. We can all say that and agree. So there's many that want his spot. And there is many that would not mind being in a scandal with him. Now, I imagine anytime Miss Menage a Trois is around, he has to have security, because you never know with a name like Minaj. You never know what is brewing in the pot. You know what I'm talking about? Listen, if y'all do not start using the left side of your brain, now, I feel like I'm bringing a unique perspective to the whole. First off, he's on his way out the door. Okay, so it's not it isn't, what happens later is a variable. But anytime you're the most influential man in the world, you can expect that is a position that a lot do not want. They may say that they do, but look what it comes with. Look what it comes with. I said it, and I'm going to say it again, that if I were that type of woman, I would want to rub elbows with the president too. You understand what I'm saying? And because when you're talking about facts and figures, when you're talking about money, there is a group, I spoke about this, that feel like they want divine masculines. Okay? Who else is a better representation of a divine masculine than the president? These groups, they were doing all kind of stuff to business owners, CEOs, hood celebrities, and y'all know what I'm talking about. And I said, these ones, they lowball. They want somebody's baby daddy that happens to be a hood celebrity. They want someone, that, granted they have a lot of money, but they lowball. They're at the bottom. So, a part of me is saying she must have heard that. Because next thing you know, I see her up on the podium. And so, listen, if you don't think Mr. Trump is sitting there saying, we got to watch this one, y'all are cray. Because, listen, we all know what happened with Mr. Clinton. Somebody sat back and said, look, now is the time. Now is the time. And you because it happened. And it was pulverized. It won't be the first time that ever happened. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. We're talking about the presidents of the United States. That's not the first time that it happened, but it was the first time that it was public, to my knowledge, unless someone knows about another scandal like that one with the Clintons. Is these scandalous women coming in for the purpose of being known as infamous? Yes, they are. It comes out in the reading. I didn't seen my infamous card so much that I said, you know what, I'm not even going to address it. Because this type of stuff, I like to cherry pick and who I'm going to give spiritual guidance to. And it is because no one that is up on that level donates. They don't care. So I would rather watch it online, because it's definitely going to be online. Now, I'm going to say to our president, that is one you have to watch. It could be, it most certainly is a way in. Do you think, now this is a conversation that many should be having, okay? Do you think that she has the potential of creating a scandal like that? Because look at the odd, look at that, that's an odd combination. Out of everyone, just bam, we see her. It to me, for it to be allowed, it was for the purpose of introducing new people. I know that the topic of citizenship also came up. I know that she offered to donate a certain amount of money to the campaign. There is little variables. Now, I don't know a lot about what is taking place there because I'm not into politics. If I was into politics, best believe I would have a notepad and a pen here. I'm talking to my viewers, my supporters, the ones that want to know what I feel about this anomaly. And I'm saying that is a potential for a scandal. Now, once he's out of the office, it's a little bit different. But even after when you are an ex-president, okay, how many, listen, let's be 100% funky right here. Okay, how many ex-presidents can get the cookie? I'm just saying. If an ex-president came to you, you knew that he had a whole wife. Okay, you may have a whole husband somewhere, and there's so many right now saying, I am married legally, and the ex-president definitely most certainly could get the cookie, because what kind of doors does that open? Now we're talking real. Is it morally correct? No, it is not. But when you are trying to climb a corporate ladder and this and that, who is better? Who's better to recommend you than an ex-president? Come on. Now, look, we got to go down the line, y'all, down the line. Anybody that works in that office for that administration is very popular, if not amongst us, amongst their circle. And best believe there is some extremely well-dressed woman sitting there ready to give up the cookie. How much y'all want to bet? Let's have an adult conversation here. We're adulting right now. Y'all can sit up and say, I am happily married and ja ja blah 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 a juju boot boot boot. But we all know how, wink wink. We all know how people is climbing those ladders. Now I'm just saying, listen, whoever introduces the next scandal, because I've already read it, whoever introduces the next scandal, can you put a word in for the homeless people? Can you say, well, the homeless people of all nationalities and races, it's time for them to come up here. It's time for them to have decent housing, jobs, resources, because we've had our foot on their necks for eternity. So it's like it's time for them to have a place, because a lot of these people are highly educated and they have a lot to offer the world. And because they've been at the bottom for so long, who better to go to for answers? There is, I've been wanting a nonprofit since my 20s, because I was introduced to that type of environment and the need for resources in my teens. So that's something that's on the bucket list. That's a bucket list for me. To say that I ran a nonprofit, that I created, I want that to be a part of the legacy that I leave. So most people say, well, how do you make money? How do you make money and you have a nonprofit? There's ways. There's ways. But if they don't get all of these ones that have their hand in the cookie jar out, they're going to start cutting that stuff too. So if we're going to have a scandal, make it a worthy one. Please. Now, I'm not sure. I know that Miss Menage a Trois. I always thought that last name was interesting. Is not from America. So I already knew that. But to me, it's just an interesting combo there. And so some people will say, well, is she a citizen? I don't even know that. I don't know. I know that it was addressed in one of the shorts that I've seen. And, but how did that conversation start? I mean, how did that conversation start? I find stuff like that interesting. So Nicki Minaj's people reaches out to his people. Like, you got to be, first and foremost, you got to be very important to even be able to talk to him or be in any environment with him. So that should, a lot of people should have their eyes like really wide. Like how in the F did that happen? How did that is a, well, I actually have been in his hotel. It was a long time ago. Matter of fact, it was in my 20s. But, it could have started there. Yeah, we talking about Mr. Trump. We talking about a playboy. Trump. Hey, I'm old enough to know some of what his legacy is, even if y'all are not. So I just wanted to talk, yeah, Playboy Trump, don't y'all go calling him that, because then he'll know that you've been watching me. That is it.